Joe Biden's 5 million illegal aliens are on the verge of replacing you, replacing your jobs, and replacing your kids in school. And coming from all over the world, they're also replacing your culture. And that's not great for America.
Actually, I mean, look, if there was some truth to what she was saying, I don't think it would be bad for America. If immigrants were replacing the culture that we just saw on tape right now, that would be freaking awesome for America. Take the garbage out, that would be great. That's my take. Hope that doesn't offend all the sensitive little snowflakes out there who can't stand the fact that this is a country that was built by immigrants, a country that is enriched by immigrants, a country that relies on immigrants to provide food through the agriculture industry, to do the farming that white Americans refuse to do because it's incredibly difficult work. I'm sorry, I would rather have, productive members of society in America as opposed to lazy, racist, disgusting, pathetic people like Marjorie Greene spouting her mouth left and right as if that's a job worth protecting.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Like if they're going to get rid of the racist culture that you're pushing out there, awesome, thank God, finally, right? The right wingers think like, we own this place, we run this place. Oh, they want to get rid of our culture where we put our thumb down on boots on our necks, boots down on their necks, the minorities, the Latinos, the blacks, etc. What a great culture we have. By the way, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you do not speak for America. In fact, you speak against America. Your slice of the culture is trash.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in that. What America stands for is equality. Oh, I know you hate that. I know you despise. Oh, I don't want trans people being equal to me. I don't want immigrants being equal to me. Okay, so I get it, and so if they take out your trash culture, it'd be the greatest thing that ever happened to America, so we can actually be America. Now, there's other parts that I want to talk about. In that tiny little thing, she said so many stupid and hateful things. She said, they're replacing you, right? Okay, look, on jobs, at least I get it. I get the logic of it, right? If they just stuck with jobs, I don't agree, and there's nuance there, but that's an interesting debate. She says their kids are replacing your kids in school.
What does that even, what does that even
How? What is that? Okay, so I immigrated to this country. I did it in a legal way, but either way, I immigrated. I came to, when I was 8 years old, and I came to a 3rd grade class. And you know what's the first thing I did? I found a white kid, and I grabbed him by the ear, and I said, get out of here. I now have
I'm replacing you.
I'm replacing you. Of course not. No, I just came to the school. Nobody got replaced. None of the white kids had to go. Any of the kids had to go. It was just another person in the school. I mean, it's such an insane thing to say. Her entire audience is like, oh yeah, I bet they're gonna take our kids out of school.
The right wing doesn't even want school for anyone who can't afford private school. So like, you wanna talk about replacement, let's just talk about the complete erasure of public schools in America, which would do what? I mean, you think we're in a bit of a pickle when it comes to higher education being incredibly unaffordable. What do you think they want to do with grade school? I mean, they want to completely do away with public education. I would say that's a lot more damaging to the children of all those Republican voters who attended that speech. If you're concerned about your children being replaced, be more concerned about schools not existing for you if you're not incredibly wealthy and can pay for private schools.
Yeah, so they beat up progressives over defund the police, and I get it, right? But what they did was they defunded the schools.
Everything.
They just defunded the schools so that your kids don't have there's no money for your kids to get an education. We now find it normal that teachers have to buy books and crayons and different materials for their kids. No, the government's supposed to provide that. That's the way it used to be when we had good public education. Why do you need good public education? So that poor and middle class kids can get a great education. By the way, like I did in New Jersey, where we had good public schools, but that was a long time ago. Now, they've eviscerated the public schools, they've defunded them, and they've replaced them with private schools for the rich. So that's what's actually happening in our schools.
And look, Marjorie Greene, along with Paul Gosar and other Republican lawmakers, which I'll get to in just a moment, I mean, they've had their mask off moment for quite some time now. In fact, Greene and Gosar led a failed effort to create a new House caucus that they titled America First. And here's what their platform said, verbatim. This is what their platform said. America is a nation with a border and a culture strengthened by a common respect for uniquely Anglo-Saxon political traditions. I mean,
no, it's not.
Yeah,
no,
of course it's not. But it does show you, I mean, again, it's very transparent what their whole goal is here, what their objective is, right? They want a white ethno-state. I think they're pretty clear and candid about that. And that is not what built America. That is not what this country is supposed to be about. And look, one of the things that I find so amusing is when right-wingers cry about labor shortages. Because when you close the borders and you don't allow immigrants to come into the country legally, which is another thing that they stopped, right, during the pandemic. Yeah, there's gonna be a worker shortage because this country, again, relies heavily on migrant workers, heavily. So for anyone who's crying about the labor shortages, maybe look into that a little bit, but let me continue. History has shown that societal trust and political unity are threatened when foreign citizens are imported en masse into a country, particularly without institutional support for assimilation and an expansive welfare state to bail them out should they fail to contribute positively to the country. The idea that we have an expansive welfare state is hilarious. This country offers no support for people. I mean, which is why we have a massive homeless population in America, one of the richest countries in the world. And the other thing is, I just love the lack of self-reflection from people like Gosar and Marjorie Greene. Like they really think they're the creme de la creme. Take a good hard look in the mirror, homegirl. Just do it. Listen to yourself speak.
And it's our job to defend the Second Amendment.
I understand that we don't have guns in the UK, that is true, but we don't have mass shootings either. Children aren't scared to go to school.
You have mass stabbings, lady. You have all kinds of murder, and you've got laws against
nothing
that.
Like the same rates.
Well,
here.
you can go back to your country and worry about your no guns.
That's very kind.
We like ours here.
There seems to be no bottom to the well of stupidity that comes from the very stupidest of those among us. And it's uncanny that the very stupidest among us seem to always be in power. It's almost like you gotta be stupid to get power. I mean, just look at this short yet incredibly powerful clip we just saw. Powerful for the level of its stupidity. I mean, can you believe your very eyes? Because I can't. Is that man really wearing a powder blue suit in the House of Representatives? Trying to be taken seriously? I'm sorry, that's obviously not what the major part of this clip is. The thing obviously we can't take our eyes off is Lauren Boebert in the background, staring into the distance, focusing as hard as she can, trying with all her might to come up with a coherent thought, but she was unsuccessful. And also there's another thing in the clip, it's the mouth talking in the front side there, responding to a British journalist saying, sure, we don't have guns in our country, but we also don't have mass shootings, to which Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're the same person. One's blonde, one's brunette. It's like a flavor pack. It's choose your airhead of your choice. Shouts back, well, you have mass stabbings, lady. She literally took a second to think about it. And the best she could come up with was, well, you have something that's way less bad that I'm presenting in a tone of voice that makes it seem like it's exactly the same, lady. Dummy Taylor Greene then follows up her own stupid statement with the next level of proof of her inane argument, which was, and all other kinds of murder. Oh, why that is so true. While we here in America have violent gun murder, where the weapon of choice can be used to indiscriminately kill lots of people in a short amount of time, other places like the United Kingdom have other kinds of murder, like slower, less mass type of murders. You not only have mass stabbings, lady, you also have pillows in your country. No one's trying to ban those. Occasionally people get smothered by them, and you can be very slowly killed one at a time, usually in very old TV shows that couldn't think of better ways to kill people in them. This seems like a silly example I'm making, but it literally is the example that very often people make in explaining why guns are not worse than other things that can kill people, is that other countries have those other things. Yeah, that's true. And once again, those things don't kill as many people. Those things aren't as scary. As a British journalist says, knives don't make kids scared to go to school. They probably aren't even scared of using knives during their school lunches because the food is very soft in England. It needs to be. The teeth there are very weak. And when this nameless British voice of reason in the back of the room retorted to Marjorie Taylor Greene, somebody so stupid that he doesn't deserve 3 names, let alone 2 or even 1, and MTG makes her sound far too mysterious, the British voice of reason shouts,
You have all kinds of murder, and you've got laws against
nothing
that.
like the same rates here.
but not at nearly the same rates. An excellent counter-argument to the point that Bobert, whatever her name is, Yogurt, Greene, they're the same person. That Greene said, well, you have all kinds of other murders. She says, but even if that's true, we don't have nearly the same amount of it. Not as much, not as frequently. People aren't as scared of it. The best Greene can do to reply is, yeah, well, you can go back to your country. We like it here in ours. Who do? You? You like it here in ours? Because you get to shout stupid stuff and not get punished for it? A lot of us hate that you're in ours. We tell you to go back to your own country. Marjorie Taylor Thomas, I loved you on Home Improvement. You've been downhill ever since. Unfortunately, you're not from anywhere else. No other countries will take you. The best and boldest part of this clip is right after MT Genius shouts out, and Genius is said sarcastically there, shouts out, we got mass stabbings, lady. A person in the background laughs. Right in her face.
You have mass stabbings, lady. You have all kinds of murder.
And while this person wasn't trying to be bold or brave, they just couldn't contain the fact that they were in front of such idiocy and it spontaneously came out. It's brave because that's the one thing that perhaps can start shaming these idiots, is to laugh in their stupid faces. We need to start doing that much more often. Every time they say something inane, stupid, indefensible, or just plain dumb, laugh at them.
I don't take a damn aspirin, I don't do it. I'm not doing it. I will not be forced into these drugs where they're going to kill people.
We laugh at them privately. Maybe if we do it to their face, they'll start second-guessing what they say a little bit and stop making our brains slower and slower on account of their sheer stupidity. One can only dream. And lastly, the only thing even dumber than this clip that happened is that Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't embarrassed by it, but instead tweeted it as an example of apparently how clever she is, with the tweet text saying, when British press wants to argue about our God-given American gun rights, I tell them, go back to your country. She literally in her own tweet is saying, when they want to make arguments based on points and try to say things that I don't have good responses to, I just say, oh, well, there's nothing I could really say to that, so I don't like you. Go back to where you come from. This is my house and my toys. And she tweets it as though she did something really good. And there's no time left in this video, and there's no patience left in my soul to pick apart her use of the phrase, God-given American gun rights. Okay, fine, real quick, let me just say, where is it said that God wants us to have guns? I thought it was the U.S. Constitution. Do they believe the Founding Fathers were God? Do they believe that God was one of the Founding Fathers? Did God wear a curly wig? Was God George Washington? Did God like to wear white tights and buckle shoes? More on this when morons like this talk again soon. Oh boy. I'm Ben Glebe. You can watch my hour stand-up special, Ben Glebe Neurotic Gangster, on Amazon Prime or YouTube. And 5 days a week, I'm releasing a new stand-up clip of crowd work on my TikTok and Instagram. Follow me at Ben Glebe on all platforms.